next session, which is about expense management in FNO. I would welcome Archit Goyal and Ramit for this bootcamp session. Both are going to present this expense management in FNO. And once again, I welcome and hope Archit, you are doing good.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I would like to thank the team of BizApp team and Rakesh sir for
Yeah.
this opportunity.
Yes. Thank you. I think now the ground is yours, so we can start now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ramit,
thank
you are
you.
Thank
Thank
presenting
you,
the
Vasav.
screen.
Yeah, thank you, Vasav, and everyone. Once again, I wanted to thank you and appreciate the team of Dynamics India, the Microsoft Visa team. They have how they have handled and how they have arranged this session in the weekend. And I can see a lot of informative session was yesterday, and I was there in the uh, Swami Narayana session that 100 and more than 100 people have joined. That was very informative. And thanks to each and everyone from the community and also those who are joining. It's it shows how they are passionate about to learn and how they are hungry to do something and invest something in the weekend. So we really appreciate it. So let me share my screen. Let me know when you can see my screen.
Yes, Ramit, I can see your screen.
Okay, great. So yeah, this session will be a very interesting session. I'm 100% sure. Myself and Archit is working in a different organization, but we are basically connected, and we share our knowledge, and we try to share our both of knowledge to the community so that we can also contribute something. So I'm currently working in Ernst and Young as a lead consultant, and Archit is working in in Unified Dots as a lead consultant. And in this session, we'll talk about mostly on the travel requisition and expense management. This session is about. So before I start up the session, I would like to give a glimpse. What is what is travel? Every organization in these days they want to maintain, or I mean, since after the COVID restrictions, all the companies or majority of the companies started started the traveling and all. So their employees want to travel or have to travel for their business case study or for consulting, for UAT on everything. So how to manage those transactions in ERP? How to manage them? Because those are part of like say suppose not only booking tickets, not only booking hotels, but it also involves the part DM functionality. Like if you are some organization have some policy, if you are staying more than 5 days, 6 days, I mean company needs to give some part DM, right? And also there are some requirement from the employee if they are going abroad, right, or anywhere in the world, they want to have the cash advance from the organization. So this kind of part DM, cash advance, travel booking, these are very very hectic work, right? So we need a module for this. So that's why Microsoft basically presented us a module called expense management in the 65 finance and operation. So we can do many things in this expense management module. We'll try to talk about each and every aspect of this travel, travel and expense management. So these are all, these all are our agenda in this session. We have tried to capture each and every aspect of this travel management, expense management. So first, we will start with the basic configurations, and then we will see travel requisition, and then we will see cash advance, and then we will lastly will show you the expense report. But in between this process, we will see many things like how we can enable travel requisition policies, how we can enable expense report policies, whether we can incorporate employee grade wise per diem or not. That kind of configurations we have done. So this basic configuration and all Archit will take us through. And after this, once he's done all the configuration policies and all, then we will run some scenarios. So before going to the scenarios, I have, or maybe sorry, it's not I, Archit and myself has gathered or created a policy for you that each and every organization has to be one policy. Without that, organization can't run, right? say we have articulated some policy here so that you can relate to your own organization, right? I can relate to my organization, how my organization manage their policies and all. So suppose you are working in an organization or your client is an organization where part diem policy is 150 USD per day for grade 2 employee, 100 USD per day for grade 1 employee. Not the not no, not this is not the end. The 30% reduction for each meal per day is provided by hotel or client. It seems quite confusing, but I will try to make you understand. Say suppose I have a policy that I will give per diem 100% if the client or the hotel is not providing any food, right? If say suppose there is a uh, client or hotel, they are providing breakfast. Say suppose one day they have provided breakfast, or there is a policy or any in India, if you are from the India, the maximum hotel these days are provides a breakfast as a complimentary. So if they are providing breakfast, that means the breakfast money will be 30% reduction from the party. But don't assume that we don't need to, I mean, we need to adhere to this. But we basically has tried to make you understand that this is also possible, how we can, that is the scenario, just assume. And then we have tried, we will also show you how we can configure airline policy as per actuals. Only economy class is allowed, right? And then hotel as per actuals, hotel rent per day should be less than 350 USD per day. That kind of policy also we thought of to show you. And itemization is mandatory. When we talk about itemization, it's nothing. So suppose we have under hotel, there is another subcategory called hotel and other hotel expenses, right? Hotel miscellaneous. So we can also bifurcate under one category. And after that, we have car rental. As per actual, the receipts are mandatory. There is no policy in car rental because in these days we cannot just rely on Ola Uber because there is no policy. In one night, you can pay 2000 for 20 kilometer. Since if you are especially from the Bangalore location and all, it takes around 2000 from airport to your hotel, right? But at the very next day, if you go to the same distance, it can be 800, it can be 1200. So I have not incorporated, we have not incorporated that policy in the carpenter. And once we are done with this setup and all, we will run through the scenario. I will not talk about in detail about the scenario. When we are done with the configuration and all, I will run the scenario 1, scenario 2, and scenario 3. Okay, so that's how we have planned to showcase the capability of travel and expense management. So I will, without further delay, I will hand over this my mic to Archit, who will took us through the configuration, basic configuration, prerequisite and everything. He will show us everything from the scratch. Yeah,
Yeah,
Archit.
thank you, Ramit. Thank you so much. Yeah, so first of all, I would like to add something. Why expense management? Okay. Already Ramit has answered that, but something I want to add. Like you have an organization of 2000 people. Okay, now everyone is submitting the invoice. If you guys are familiar with Dynamics already, then in Dynamics you need to create invoice journal to book vendor invoice, and vendor will be created as an employee. Okay, so in that case, it becomes very cumbersome for the organization to manage all the expenses, also check the policy outside the system. So that's why expense management is introduced. Okay, now if I talk about the expense management, there you can the employee can himself submit the expense. Policies can be set up that will check whether the expenses are in limit or not, and then approval process will be there. The reporting manager is going to approve those expenses as well. Finance also can post the expenses right away without having the invoice posted through invoice journal or directly through invoice in AP. Okay, that is why expense management is very helpful. I'll take you to some setup, basic setup before diving into the scenarios that we are going to cover. Let me share my screen. Is my screen visible? Okay. Ramit, is it
Yes,
visible?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, Archit. Go ahead.
That's great. Okay. So first of all, before configuration, I would like to we would like to see how employees are mapped in the system. Because as you know, if you are familiar to Dynamics, then employees are created as workers in Dynamics 365 in HR module. Okay, and the person like I am Archit, I'm logging into the system is a user. Okay, So first and foremost, we need to map this user to the worker. Okay, so like you can see, Ramit user has been mapped to the worker. So this is the prior setup prerequisite before you are starting with the expense management. Second thing, which is also important, so that the liability to pay employee go into the vendor account of the employee, we need to map employee and vendor as well. Okay, now I will go to the employee master. This is the employee master, you can see. And in the employee master, there is an expense tab. Okay, now here, employee mapping and per diem. There are per diem rates also. We will come to that later. But yeah, here you can actually map the vendor and the employee. And also the data entities are also given. If you have 2000 employees, you want to map it, then the data entities are given so that you can do it in the speedy way. Okay. Next thing, the most important setup, I want to take you to the payment method in the expense management module. So if I show you, this is the expense management module. Here you can see different sub modules. In the setup tab, there is payment method available. Okay, so payment method and the expense categories are the most important setup that we need to do before starting with the expense management. Okay, I will explain you the payment method first. Okay, so payment method is basically how employee is going to pay the expenses. The cash being default, cash means out of pocket expense, whether so if he is choosing cash expense, then in that case that becomes a reimbursement that is needed to be paid to that employee. Okay, maybe we are not covering credit card today. Maybe organization has issued credit card to employees. Okay, so credit card and the employee is making expenses through the credit card. So he may choose credit card over there while entering the expense. Okay, then the cash advance expense. Okay, so might be before going to a trip, employee has asked for the cash advance. Okay, and now he's making some expenses through that cash advance. So in such case, that posting will get differ as per the finance perspective. Okay. Then this is the description. Expense owner. Expense owner means who is the owner of the expense? The company. Yes, because it is a business expense. If employees going for any meeting abroad, so and there might be a flight expense. So yeah, that is the company's expense. So you will define over here company. But here, if you can see in the cash advance expense, I've um, set up employee here. Okay, so in such case, why I have set up employee, because employee has already taken the cash advance and he's meeting that expense. So that's why we have taken it as employee. So that's how you will be able to list advances in the expense report. Okay. Now you can see multiple offset type. You will be able to see multiple offset type. Let me create a new payment method. Okay. So you can see here worker. Worker means whenever expense report is posted. Okay, at that time, the posting will be in the worker's vendor liability. Okay. Otherwise, we can choose ledger also, bank also. Bank, I will tell you in what cases we can choose bank, and directly vendor. Vendor is usually chosen when you are talking about the credit card. So the liability will be there in the credit card provider's vendor account, not in the employee's vendor account, just like I've set up in the last row. Okay. So moving ahead, this is the payment method we need to set up, and we need to select it on the expense report as an employee. Next setup is the expense category. Yeah. So these are our expense category. Now this master is the legal entity specific master. But to have an expense category, you need to have a shared category also. Okay, so if I go to hotel, you can see expense type is dedicated and can be used in expense type is also written over here. So the same shared category can be used in multiple entities to create the expense category. So this could be your global master, and the expense categories can be your entity specific master, if we talk about. And here you need to define the expense type as well. So this is a predefined list of master which Dynamics has given. Okay, so you can just write hotel, or you can select the per diem expense, or it could be car rental, airline. So this is a predefined set of master which Dynamics has provided. Now, if you see on this page, we are not going to cover the integration with project management for the expense management. Okay, so these are basically some tabs related to the project management. We are not going to cover this. We are going to cover the expense category only. So what is expense category? Expense category are the type of expenses that company is going to incur for the expense management module. Okay, now you can define a GL code on the expense category. If you see over here, you can see a main account is dedicated to the expense category. Okay, now with the main account, there are some more setups that are given for the expense management. Like you can default a payment method. So if employee is entering some expenses, it would be very difficult if he is selecting every time a payment method. So the payment method can be defaulted on the expense category. The moment he will select the expense category, automatically cash will be selected as given here. Okay. Now, second is itemization mandatory. Itemization means whether you want to subcategorize that expense or not. So this is the expense category. And if you see on the last fast tab, this is the subcategory. Okay. So you can also give the main account subcategory wise. Okay. Further, this subcategory can be used so that because on the receipt, there would be many charges. For example, daily room rent is this, restaurant charges are this, room service charges are this. Okay, but you want that employee should make a report in such a way only. Okay, so you can just mandate the itemization. This is not a mandatory setup to do, but if your organization wants such policy, then it can be done. Okay. Now, moving ahead, allowed payment method. So basically, here you are telling Dynamics that show employee only these options for the payment method. Okay, if I'm adding it here, cash advance expense, then cash advance expense will also be one of the payment method that employee can select. Otherwise, not. Okay, he will not be able to see the cash advance expense. Okay, so these are the two setup that are very important. Okay, I've already gone through this setup. There are some miscellaneous setup also that I wanted to take through. So here you can see the delegate option is there. So maybe I'm a reporting manager, let's say, and Ramit is an employee. I'm gone for a business meeting and I'm very busy. I won't be able to enter my expenses. So I can tell Ramit, please make expense claim on my behalf. Okay, so that's how the setup can be done, and I can delegate my expense submission to Ramit. So this is the setup for that. Then expense report fields and report field visibility. These are two setup. Earlier, Microsoft has brought the input of the expense report from here. Now Microsoft has introduced a new workspace that is called my expense report reimagined, which is a more cleaner way of entering the expenses, I would say. So, okay, so for that, there can be many fields related to the expense type. For example, the expense type is hotel. Okay, now related to hotel, you want to know when employee checked in, when employee checked out. Okay, and other fields also you want. I will just take you to that. Yeah, so you want to know how many number of guests has stayed, how many number of nights you spend there. Okay, so you can set up like that. You want to display such fields or not. So this is a field control. Currently for check-in date and checkout date, I have put recommended. So only check-in date and checkout date will be shown to me if I'm entering my expense. Okay, others will not. If I want any other field to be there, then I can do that. Also, on this field, I can also create a policy as well. So these fields are also important from the perspective of policy. Okay, so for example, I have an airline category. And in airline category, there is a service class, basically economic class or first class you are going. Okay, and only economic class is allowed as per the policy. So I can add this as recommended to be filled in. and also make a policy that only economy class should be there. If it is a business class, then the error will be there while entering the expense. So that can be also configured. Okay. Next, tax configurations are there in case of in some country there is let's say sales tax recovery is also there. So you can also do tax configuration, but we are not keeping this in this session. Maybe in future session we can plan for this tax configuration. And the cash advance account. So these are the staff advance account you need to specify and tell system that which account should be hit when the accounting for cash advance request is done. Okay. Next master is the per diem master. So this is particularly related to the expense type per diem. Okay. And uh, I'll come to that. Like per diem policy can be two type of policy. I've seen like some companies may have employee wise per diem rate and flat rate can be there. Okay. So if the organization want to use that flat rate, so they do not need to set up these all. They can just go in the employee master and give a flat rate here. Okay, so it will be a employee wise flat rate for the per diem. Okay, so per diem is not an expense actually. It is an incentive to the employee, which on the per day basis he get for the trip. Okay, but there may be cases where organization wants per diem policy to be location wise. Okay, if employees going in Africa, then the per diem should be this, and if he is going to Australia, then the per diem should be this. If you want to maintain such kind of policy, and in addition to location also you want whether if meals are provided by the client or the hotel itself, then in that case a full per diem will not be able to be claimed by the employee. Such kind of policy you can define here. Okay, so first we need to create per diem location. So if you see what I have done for Australia, I've created two per diem location. Okay, for grade 1, grade 2. Let's say Ramit is a grade 2 employee. Okay, so he will be selecting the Australia grade 2, and accordingly rates will be there. Okay, now the per diem, where you set up the rates and everything. So you can see here Australia grade 1, Australia grade 2. We have set up like some company may also give for the hotel accommodation per diem. So they can enter amount here, but I have kept it as 0. And you can see in meal 100 USD currency is defined here. Company is giving to the employee when he's traveling to for somewhere for the business meeting or anything. Okay. Now, what I have defined here, if employee is getting a breakfast from the client or from the hotel, there will be 30% reduction in the per diem amount. Okay. If lunch is also provided, then there will be 30 plus 30, 60% reduction. And if dinner is also provided, then 90% reduction total will be there. Okay. So while entering the expense report, employee will be able to select how many meals he has got from the client or the hotel. Okay. And additionally, one more thing is there, because it might happen that someone has reached to the destination on, let's say, 11 p.m. at night, and the employee is claiming the expense for per diem for that day also. So you can actually define minimum hours to get the per diem with this setup, per diem tier rate setup. Okay, so this is the per diem setup. Next, let's go to the policy. I'll show you the policy quickly. How can you set up the policy? This is the expense report policy, and you can also set up the travel requisition policy. Okay, let's go to expense report. There are multiple policy, but if you see active, only 3. And for USMF, this entity, I have selected this policy. Let's check out the airline policy, how we have built this airline policy. Okay, so policies are created expense type wise. Okay, and which are predefined master in the system. If I click here, I have defined a policy that service class should not be equal to, if service class is not equal to economy class or the seats are not attached. So in that case, what you want system to do? You want do not allow user to submit or approve until they are providing the justification. So basically there will be one more field enabled in such case where they need to fill in the justification that why you have chosen the business class, only economy class is allowed, or why are you not attaching the receipt? Receipts are mandatory. Okay, so he may provide the justification. If justification is acceptable, manager may approve it or otherwise not. Okay, and this is the message he will get while entering and violating the policy. Okay, so this is the policy, and next we will go some optional setups, like you can define a purpose of the expense report. That could be a predefined master. Okay, why are you making such expense for a business meeting, for a CRP session, for a client meeting? Anything could be there. Okay, then entertainment expenses are also there. We're not covering it today. Okay, travel locations where you are going, so you can define that country wise also, location wise also, that can be defined. And merchant, for example, if I'm going through airline, so am I going through Indigo or Air India? So you can define that, but it's not mandatory, because too much field can create too much confusion in the system, Okay, that's it, Ramit, from my side. I've explained the prerequisite setup that needs to be done. Now let's go ahead with the scenario.
All right. Thank you so much, Archit. Now it's time to walk you through the audience how we can use this expense management, how it is done. Let me share my screen.
Yeah.
So, like I was talking about, we have created some scenarios. The first scenario which we will be taking you through, that Ramit is a grade 2 employee, submits the travel requisition with flight, hotel, and car rental expenses, and requested company to arrange Australian visa for 3 days. So what I will do, I will create the travel requisition and submit into the approval. And then at the time of approval, there is one catch, which is that, say suppose I am going to Australia, right? But I have the privilege, or I want to, you know, book the hotel or flight on my own. I don't want to, uh, I mean, I don't want to give this to the admin person, or I don't want to book on my own. I mean, I may have two possibilities, whether I need to go book the hotel on my own, or I can give this, what tasks to my admin. So we have created this workflow such a way so that if I self booking the hotel and all, then the admin will, I will just submit the workflow, and then my manager will approve it, and then it will end. The workflow will end, and then Archit will, take the part of other things. But if I want admin team to book the hotel and car and all, then my manager will approve, and then it will go to the admin team for booking other things. So now what I will do, I will create a travel requisition and management. And from here, if you see, a lot of things are there, right? I will go to travel requisition. I will click on new travel requisition. And here I will click on maybe customer visit for hotel and okay. Now I will click on OK. Now you will notice that it will give me error that please fill the destination. Like Archita was talking about, we have we can configure a lot of policies. We have added a policy where destination has to be filled. I will now select Australia. So this error comes from derives from the policy. Now I will select expense category from here. It says suppose car rental, estimated date maybe today. Okay, not this 500 maybe. And then I will select another category called flight. Estimated date maybe today. Okay, 500 again. I will now select hotel. Estimated date today. 1000. We'll save this. Now I will submit it to the workflow. Submit. Now it will ask me whether I want to self book the arrangements or I want admin team to self book or admin team to book. So I will click on refresh. On view history. Let's see. It takes some time for workflow to run. Okay, it's done. So now if I click on workflow, I will get the possibility on my own that company arrangements or self arrangements. I will click on company arrangements. Company arrangements. So now Archit will play the role on behalf of my manager and also the admin person who will book the or who will arrange the tickets and so Archit, would you like to take this up?
Yeah, sure. Let me share my screen again. Please let me know if you can see the screen, Amit.
Yes, I can see. Go ahead.
Okay. So what Ramit has done till now that he has submitted trip request. Basically, he's requesting that I'm going to go on the trip, and he has estimated some amounts. And these amounts are very useful when you are using budgeting with the expense management. We are not going to cover that today, but yeah, that can be used with budgeting as well. Okay, so it can consume your budget. Okay, based on the amounts you are filling in. Okay. Now I'm being the reporting manager. Okay, so I will see that there is a work item assigned to me, and it also notification can also be set up through emails as well. Okay, uh, that email can arrive in my inbox, and I can just go ahead and take the decision whether to approve it or not. I'll click here. Okay. I can see here that, okay, Ramit is going to a trip. Where he's going? Let me check. He's going to Australia for hotel and flight. Okay. It seems fair, and if it is not seeing frame, maybe he's the amount is very high, so I can reject it. Okay, and it will go to Ramit, and Ramit can correct it out. Okay, but if everything is fine as a manager, I will approve it. Once the approval is done, now it will again run the workflow, and the condition will be checked. Now you may see, you may have seen that Ramit has asked for the arrangements. Okay, what if he has not asked for the arrangement? Then workflow will stop here. Okay, it will not go to the admin. But since he has asked for some arrangements, now the workflow will go to the admin team, and I myself is only playing the role of admin. So let's see what comes up next here. Yeah, so you can see travel arrangements are requested. I'll go here. I'll go here. Okay, I'm an admin guy. Now I'm seeing, okay, a person is traveling and he's asked for some arrangement. What are those arrangement? So it may be find in the, he can find in notification. Also, notification can be set up like that, okay, he need a visa for this travel. Okay, or in a travel description, as we are showing here, it can be derived. Okay, I need to book a visa. Okay, so I will apply for that employee business visa, and then as and when I will get that visa, I can attach that visa here and also send it through a mail that will be out of the system. Okay, once I have done this job, I will approve it, and the approval is done. Employee will get a notification through email that your trip request has been approved, and then he will go to that trip request and he can find the attachment as well, or he can see the mail if it is sent separately. Okay, now next what we are going to see, along with the trip request, Ramit also needs some cash advance. Okay, now Ramit, can you share your screen and show the cash advance process? Here there will be little bit screen changing, so please
Yes,
bear.
the reason we have planned like this, that you can understand who is taking which part. So scenario one, we have covered how to send the requisition, and at the time of manager approval, Archit has approved it, and also he has shown how Roshan as an admin staff, arrange the attach the same. So that's the travel requisition process in one go we wanted to share. Now the second part of this scenario is cash advance, like Archit was showing. Like cash advance, like Archit was mentioning, why do you need cash advance, right? So now the scenario is that Ramit needs cash advance. I need a cash advance of 1,000 spend travel related expenditure and requested for the same. So how we can request this cash advance? Let's see. Under the my expenses, I have this cash advances. I will click on cash advance and I will click on need. Here I will select the location, say Australia, purpose, customer visit, required amount is 1,000 AUD. Change this to USD to AUD. Okay. So need cash for initial days spent. Okay.
Also, I want
And
to
then
add
I
one
can select
thing.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see the exchange rate has derived because our accounting currency
Yeah.
is USD and we are requesting AUD from the company. Okay, so that exchange rate will be derived from the ledger setup, the default one. Okay, so this exchange rate is editable and can be not editable based on the setup. So we have currently kept this editable, so employee can edit it as well.
Okay. Thank you, Archit. And I will click on submit. So now the process is, just remember, I'm just requesting a cash advance, right? So again, I have requested the cash advance. As per my scenario, Archit, the reporting manager, approves the request. Rohit, the payment clerk, got the notification to process the cash advance. So Archit will play the role of manager, and then how to payment that you will also. Yeah, Archit.
Yeah, thank you, Raman. So as a reporting manager, I will be notified, okay, Ramit wants some cash advance for the trip. Okay, so the notification will be popped up in the work item assigned to me, and it could be through email as well, as I told earlier. Okay, I will go here. So I will see, okay, Amit wants 1,000 AUD for this trip. Okay, so maybe I validate that why it is required such a huge amount. Okay, so I can reject it as well if I want. And after rejecting it, I can give the instruction to correct the amount or to a certain fixed amount only. But yeah, one thing is there, policy check is not there in the cash advance. Okay, policy check is only there in the travel requisition and the expense report. So now I will go ahead and approve this request. Once I approve this, okay, this will be a approved cash advance request and a payment clerk. Now I'm Rohit, a payment clerk. Okay, I'm not Archit, a reporting manager. I have shifted my head to Rohit, the payment clerk. The payment clerk will be notified. Okay, so there is some payment need to be made to the employee. Okay, let's go, to the cash advance. So you can see there are three options here. If some cash advances are in review, it will be shown here. If the cash advances are approved, it will be shown here. So currently I have approved the cash advance. So it is in approved status. The payment clerk, will go to, approved and paid cash advance. Yeah, I will go here and I can see, okay, these ones are paid and this one is approved but not paid yet. Now, approved does not means that the financial posting has been done. Approved means that reporting manager has posted, has approved that cash advance request, but a financial entry is yet to be done. Okay, so I, as a payment clerk, can click on pay and transfer here. Now, once I paid this, what will happen? The staff advances account will get debited and your vendor liability will be credited. So currently payment has not been made. Expense management cannot be used for making a payment. Okay, you need to use the regular accounts payable module to make payment. And it has some benefits as well. If you are using a payment proposal automation or payment proposal manually, so in that case, it will, that employee's cash advance request will automatically fetched on the payment line. Okay, so payment cannot be made from here. Here request can be generated. So currently a liability has been created. I will show you how. Let's go to the vendor account of the Ramit. So you can see here, this is a journal that has been posted. If I go to the voucher, what it is showing that the staff advance account is debited. That means there is some advance we have given to the employee, and the employee's payable account is currently credited because payment has not yet been made. Only it has been approved and posted through expense management. Now, if I try to run, try and go to payment journal, it can be either fetched by payment proposal or it can be fetched directly on the line. So as a payment clerk, I will go here. If I am giving that guy a physical, Ramit, a physical cash in AUD, I will select the payment name, journal name. And this is a regular payment option. It's not related to the expense manager. You are paying it just like any other vendor. I'll mark this. And because I'm paying a physical cash to Ramit, I'll select the ledger over here and select bank account AUD. One thing you must have wondered where this financial dimensions are coming. I'm not inputting anywhere, but this is fixed on the employee master. Okay, so that financial dimensions are defaulted from the employee master. I've made the payment. Now Ramit's account is cleared. Dynamics do not hold advances on the vendor account. It holds advances on the ledger level. Okay, but if you want to see that how much advance do we have given to Ramit, or if there are 100 employees, then 100 employees, then there are workarounds for that. But yeah, it goes on the ledger level, not on the vendor level. Okay, all right. Now this has been processed. Payment has been done. Now Ramit, you can take this up. Hello, Ramit.
Yes, Archit. Yeah, I'm sharing my screen. So in the interest of time, I will try to take pace in this session. So here, scenario 2, we have covered the cash advances. Now, the last and the most important part we will cover in this session is expense report submission. So in the expense report, we have tried to accumulate that After travel, Ramit has traveled, and after travel, submit the expense report. Receipts attached. It is mandatory. And following the claims is specified: flight ticket economy class 400, hotel accommodation 300 per day, car rental 500 USD, and per diem. So in this, I will also show you the per diem as well, along with this expenses. So let me go to here, and I can click the I can create the expense report either from here. Also, Microsoft has recently given a feature called expense report reimagined. So this from here as well, I can create the expense report. But here is one gap still Microsoft is yet to give, which is we cannot attach the expense or travel requisition from this expense report reimagined. So for now, I will just create the expense report from maybe
And Microsoft has already clarified that it will be coming in future release.
customer visit, location, Australia. And from here, what I need to do, I need to select my travel requisition, which I have done. So I will click on this first travel requisition and then expense report. You can write anything and click on OK. So it is done. Maybe I can go back to my expense management. Okay. Expense category, car rental, and then automatically payment method will come. Maybe I can.
One thing I want to add, the reason why we are doing it from here is only because we need to attach the travel requisition number. We are not able to do it from the reimagined workspace because Microsoft has currently not provided that.
Just bear with me. Some refreshes happened. This one. Will click on this, and I will click on new expense category. I will select car rental 500. Okay, I can select any merchant from here. It is not mandatory, but I can select. So I will save it. And now, see, it is showing me the cross symbol because there is a policy. I can see the policy. What is the policy here? It will show me. Please provide justification for not attaching the receipt. So what I will do, I will click on edit. I will click on add receipts. Browse.
It can be both ways. Like you can first, if you're traveling, you can first store the receipts unattached in Micro Dynamics because uh, it can be through mobile workspace as well. And later on, you can submit the expense against that.
It's done. Now you see the green tick mark. The policy is matched. I will click another expense, which is hotel. Okay. So 1000. Will save. So now we will see some error message here as well. First, I will see the policy. This message is not completely itemized. So this is because we have added some policy here, which says hotel cannot be more than some amount, which is the amount hotel accommodation 300 per USD. So what I can do, I can just give me a minute.
So earlier in configuration part, I have kept in expense category itemization mandatory. That's why it is asking that you need to subcategorize this expense. You need to specify whether it is a daily room rent or it is a restaurant service charges.
To
Like
itemize this one, we need to click on from actions, itemize. We can select daily
Ramit,
rent.
sorry to cut you short.
Yeah.
Quick time check. I think we are already overrun.
Yeah. Yes, Rakesh, I think it will be completed maybe 5-6 minutes. Okay. So now the remaining is 0. Is meeting. Is the error.
Just delete the line and create again. It may be
I think I
a
got it.
refreshing issue.
Yeah. It is done. Now you see everything is in green, and also you see under hotel daily rent has been itemized, and 350, 350, 350 is a hotel policy which you have added. More than 350 it will not allow. It will not allow. It will allow us now. If it would have been 400, it would have given us error that it is not allowed. Okay. And now the last thing I would like to show you is part DM. Part DM, like Archit mentioned, we have created the part DM policy. And now if you select part DM here, and if you see these options are coming. So I will select locations. The locations, I will select Australia, rate. Okay. And I will click the start date maybe from 17th and to 20. Okay. This date it is
I think we have already created one.
right. Okay.
Do one thing, take some other dates. Start date and from date earlier than 17th of November.
Okay. Now you see this option is coming meals and incidental. It's coming at 150. Like we have created a policy which states that if a meal is provided, 30% reduction will be there. So if I see there, my total 150 is a per diem, but my client has provided breakfast. I will click on this, and my meals will be deducted to 105. So that's how we can create the per diem policy here. And if I don't, I mean, you have not got anything from the client or hotel, it will be straightforward 150. But in case in this date I have got this, in case I have got this breakfast, and in this date I have got lunch, so my per diem amount will be like 150 this day, 105 this day, and 105 this day, and based on the grade 2. If I select grade 1, my calculation will be different. See, 100, 70, 70. That's it. So that's how we create the expense rate, expense policies, and how we can itemize, like tell how to give a policy daily hotel room rent, and that's it. Maybe I can submit it now. And yeah, that's it. In the interest of time, I will cut this session. So after this, maybe I would like to just talk about what will happen in this review. I've submitted it, and the approvers like Archit, as manager, they will review it and then just process. I mean, just approve this, and it will be in approved state. In this approved expense state, and it will show us as approved. And from there, we need to click on post like this. And once it is posted, this amount will go to the vendor or as per the payment method we have selected. So that's how basically the expense report works. Like, so we will not show you how to approve it or how to post it. It's just how I have approved it and how I have posted it. So that's how the expense report works. And we try to show you the part DM as well. And before I hand over the session to Archit, Archit, on this part, you would like to take anything or else we will just close the session because others no,
Yeah,
speakers
I
have
just
joined.
want to add few
Yeah,
things.
just go ahead.
Like if Ramit has submitted the expense and I as a reporting manager is approving it, okay, after that posting will be depending upon the payment method and the expense category. So your expense GL will get debited for sure. Okay, but payment, for example, Ramit has already taken 1000 AUD as the cash advance. Okay, so if that cash advance payment method has been selected, and in such case your cash advance ledger will get credited instead of liability of the employee. Okay, so system will work like that, because today we are on short on time, we weren't able to show that, but yeah, that can be pretty much configured. Okay, and also the cash advance request, you can advance request number you can also select on the expense report.
Yes, and
Yeah.
one last thing before we close, we wanted to talk about these other capabilities, but we have not planned to show you in this session, which is OCR capabilities also possible in expense management, which we need to integrate or to configure in Power Platform and environment. So this also is possible. Maybe in some time future, we would show you that how to enable the OCR capabilities, how it works, and expense management with budgeting, expense management, project management, expense management, sales tax recovery, credit card functionality, or Power BI embedded reports. These are all possible. These are other capabilities. I'm sure I myself and Archit will think about it and will try to showcase in other session. Yeah, thanks everyone for watching this. And if you have any questions, maybe in the interest of time, we will take this later. But yeah, definitely we'll try to solve your questions in chat.
Thank you, Ramit, and thank you, Archit. I think definitely we will have another session in our monthly meetup, and we will talk about more on the OCR capability in relation with the expense management, Archit and Ramit. Thank you very much for your time and effort, both of you.
Yeah, I would like